Adrian Newey is seemingly very close to signing a deal with Ferrari after it was initially believed that the Maranello team was ready to move on from the Brit's mastermind. After being completely released from his duties at the end of 2024, Newey would be able to join a squad as early as in 2025. And while his anticipation for the 2026 car would be minimal due to it being in quite a progressive state as of now, there's no doubt that the influence would be massively impactful on where the team ends under the new regulation era. After Hamilton's latest statements on Newey, as well as him being seen signing a Ferrari symbol, could we actually see this dream team happen? It goes without saying that Adrian Newey is the hottest prospect on the grid right now, and he's not even an F1 driver, as they tend to get more traction and attention this period. However, the impact of Adrian Newey as to where Red Bull ended up under the new regulation era has made him quite the power figure in the sport, one that the other squads would give everything they have in their pockets in order to secure his signature. And two of those teams are Ferrari and Aston Martin, who have emerged as top candidates to land Newey. However, the Silverstone-based squad has seemingly received a no from Newey, meaning that his full attention would now be focused on Ferrari. And a very interesting situation happened during the Monaco Grand Prix. While delivering autographs to the fans, Newey was given a large Ferrari flag with a symbol of the prancing horse on it, and Newey did not hesitate to sign it at all. This is all but coincidence because there's no way Newey would have signed it unintentionally. And if he had no plans of joining Ferrari, the last thing that he would be doing is signing their merchandise and firing up even more rumours about his future. When talking about Newey joining Ferrari, Hamilton has always given statements with a wide smile on his face. And in the latest one, the 7-time world champion went on to say, Newey would be an amazing addition. Ferrari already has a great team and has made great strides this season, but it would be a privilege to work with him. Obviously, Hamilton's mind is already in 2025, regardless of how much he denies it in the first place, and maybe he has a thing or two to say to Newey when it comes to pursuing the signature of the 65-year-old. Still, doubts arise as to whether Newey's importance to Ferrari would be as great as originally anticipated, because Ferrari is already making huge steps ahead even without Newey. And reports from sources close to the Maranello squad have stated that the team is not that interested in signing Newey in the first place. This has been denied after the Monaco Grand Prix, which might have given us the exact answer we were looking for on Adrian Newey's future. Multiple reports stated that he would be deciding for his future in the upcoming week, and all of a sudden it seems like Mercedes have emerged as strong candidates to sign the 65-year-old, even though it would be without Verstappen, a duo that the Brackley-based squad would kill to have in their own rows. These reports went to the extent of saying that Newey would be given a percentage of the team's ownership as a gesture of gratitude. But if there's one thing that Adrian isn't motivated about, as proven by himself and his manager Eddie Jordan, it is the money factor. A huge obstacle to Newey's move to Ferrari might be the fact that he would have to move to Maranello with all of his family. And in a recent statement, Adrian did say that he looks forward to spending a bit of time on himself, with his wife and the dog. Regardless of that, he also stated that if you stay stationary in this business, then you're effectively going backwards, and he might not be looking too much into this vacation period. When talking about what could possibly be set in the stars for him, Newey went on to say, "When I asked two of the people I respect the most, Bernie Ecclestone and Roger Penske, I asked them both, what is your secret? And both of them said that they have kept going and going, and for their age, they are phenomenally agile, mentally and physically. They both said that old thing, that the brain is like a muscle. It needs exercise, so you need to keep doing that. I love what I do, so at some point I guess I'll have a bit of a holiday, and as Forrest Gump said at the end of his long run, I feel a little bit tired at the moment, but at some point I'll probably go again." There is no doubt that Newey's future is still with Formula One, and whether he likes it or not, this sport has grown on him so much that he can't give up without making at least one more team successful. What he has done with Red Bull is massive. He's been part of them ever since the start of the journey in 2005, turning a team that was labelled as a fizzy drinks one to multiple championship winners in both categories. But everything grows and is destined to change. And so is Newey's future, although it was vastly influenced by the internal political battle in Red Bull that revolved primarily around Horner and the clan that was formed against him from the Verstappen family and Helmut Marko. The fact that Horner was not dethroned and Jos Verstappen's warnings were understood as pure trash talk were thrown out the window once Newey left the team, as his move proves that not everything in Red Bull is as they say, and a lot of bad stuff is happening behind closed doors. Now, the only answer that Newey would have to give to the Formula One world and himself is whether or not there is enough working ground for him to join Ferrari, mostly because he would have to fit in a system that is already functioning perfectly well without him. If we are to compare Ferrari to where they were just 2 years ago, which is a period that had the same regulations as the one that we have in 2024, then you'd notice that Ferrari has been on a steady uprise, and a lot of experienced staff have brought their efforts into this turnaround. Therefore, if Newey were to join Ferrari, he wouldn't be quite as dominant as he was in Red Bull, despite the Austrian team consistently saying that their success was not predominantly on Newey, and that other individuals in the team also had equal or maybe even greater impact on the car's development. On the other hand, Vasseur is now more than adamant that the team will unlock more performance, which is not that hard to imagine given the fact that they've won just one race in 22 events in 2023, while in 2024, in the first 8 venues, Ferrari already won 2 races and have finished with both of its cars on every race so far. This hasn't happened ever since 2019, a record that was broken with Raikkonen's DNF in Singapore, and it's obvious that the momentum is on their side, with the points difference not being extremely high, 24 in the Constructors' Championship, 31 in the Drivers' Championship. When talking about the future of Ferrari and where they are intending to go from this point onwards after unlocking a massive chunk in performance with Imola's upgrade, Vasseur went on to say, "In F1, even when you have done well, you have to work to do better. If you feel like you have arrived, then you're dead. If we look at Miami, Imola and Monaco, we are talking about a difference of a few tenths. A championship fight? We don't have to think about it. Ferrari must maintain its approach and try to improve race after race. Today, you're P1. Tomorrow you can be P6, as seen with Verstappen in Monaco. I have a good feeling for Montreal. It will be a different and somewhat atypical circuit, with many slow corners and bumps to attack, but with very high top speeds and low load settings. Barcelona has a good mix of corners and is strict on the tyres, but I don't think the pecking order will be upset compared to the first 8 Grand Prix." Obviously, Vasseur understands that the Maranello team is in a position that they've not been in since the golden days of 2007, when they won the championship with Raikkonen, and they've been close on multiple occasions like 2010, 2012 and 2018. That is still not enough for the team to be satisfied with what they've done so far. The progress is visible, the car is accepting the upgrades, and more importantly, the platform is not as strict on the operating window as the one of Red Bull. This enables the engineers back in Maranello to work on more details around the car and widen up the tyre strategy or the ride height in order to compensate for the lost ground in a safer manner, something that Red Bull won't be able to do for the remainder of the season. And this does not mean that Red Bull's competitiveness will suddenly drop out of the window, quite the contrary. But with the departure of Adrian Newey and the fact that Red Bull's struggles started at the weekend that he announced his departure in Miami, this is kind of an interesting paradox that has been consistently talked about in the paddock. Whether or not Newey's influence on 2026 will be massive, considering the 2026 regulations won't involve as much around the downforce generation of the car, it's up to Ferrari and Newey to find out. With all of this in mind, do you think that Newey would sign for Ferrari from 2025 onwards? And if so, do you think that this would be the right move for the Maranello team? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.